All right, welcome back to the Neutral Zone, everybody. Another live show for this college football season, heading into week 2. 1 week has been complete. Good week of college football, or week 0 and week 1, I would say. Obviously, had some big time storylines after the first week and a half of college football, so we're excited to talk about it. Today, we're also going to be previewing the games for week 2. Obviously, Texas, Michigan is going to be a really big game. Tennessee, NC State should be a really big game. Outside of those two, the rest of them are kind of ho hum. So we'll go over some storylines, maybe talk about possible Heisman candidates, some disappointments, some surprises so far in week 1. But Dad, how'd you feel about week 1 as a whole, and kind of what we got out of the Florida State game and the USC game?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of storylines. I think the hardest part about week one and really any of those weeks like that is it's hard to get a full read on a team, right? I think we don't know the full story, right? This is the opening chapter. So I don't know if Miami is really good, Florida's really bad, or some mix of the two. I don't know if, especially when we take teams like Ole Miss or Alabama under Kalen DeBoer. I think it gave us a hint to some things, but I don't think we know or have the full story, and we won't have that until many weeks later, until we get some more competitive games. I think we probably have a good story on Florida State and where they are, and I think it's safe to say that this is going to be a rough year for them. I think we have some concerns about some teams, Oregon maybe, right, and how all that's going to mesh together. But again, 2 weeks from now, as those guys get a little bit more chemistry, that thing might be popping. Um, I think we got to see what Will Howard brings to the table as an Ohio State fan, especially being dynamic. I think we got to see that Colorado is still going to have issues with defense. So there are little things that we got to figure out, but nothing paints the full story because one, a lot of teams play really bad teams that they should beat up on, and two, it's week one, and teams are going to get better, right? College doesn't have the preseason where you can kind of iron out some of the kinks. Teams are going to get better as the season progresses, or some teams are just going to show us who they really are as the season progresses. And I'll even say that for your Clemson Tigers, right? They played a very good Georgia team. Everybody's kind of dumping on them right now. But this might be a 10, 11, 12 win team that just played a really good Georgia team that could go on to win the national championship and do a lot of good teams in a very similar fashion, and maybe even worse. And Clemson's a really good team. I think after 1 week, it's tough to try to even gauge what it is we've seen so far. What's your thoughts on week one?
Um, my biggest takeaway, well, I would say not biggest takeaway because there's a bunch, but I would say one key thing that I want to talk about, which it could be false, but as of right now, it's true, and that's USC's defense is much improved.
Yeah,
But I will say, I think both USC and LSU are very, very unknown as of right now. So both teams could just really be bad.
exactly.
They could both go 6-6. We don't know. And like you said, it's the first chapter of 12 chapters, really.
Yeah.
So, but I think they looked really good. They look like they play with a little bit more urgency, and they play with a little bit more physicality against an SEC team that had one of the best, has arguably two of the best tackles in college football, and Emory Jones and Will Campbell, I believe his name is.
Yeah.
So two really good tackles, and USC's defense got multiple stops on many different occasions. I think Miller Moss proved that he can fill the shoes of Caleb Williams and keep that offense going.
He looked
And
legit.
I think although Caleb Williams had that offense running at an all-time high, I think if Miller Moss even still is a drop-off from Caleb Williams, with the defense does move up, then it evens out. So I do like what I saw out of USC so far. It's wild that some people are dumping on Clemson right now. It's not. That's the cool thing to do, man. That's what people do in the media.
Don't get them started, Dave.
I like how they adjusted in the second half, and there was much improved than last year. They've never adjusted. Yeah, I
Who are we
agree. I
talking
think
about?
USC.
Okay.
Yeah, I do think that the defense looks a lot better. But I think quarterback play in general in that game, Nussmeier and Miller Moss both looked really good.
Yeah.
I think Nussmeier
Especially
had
given the expectations of who they're replacing.
definitely. I think Nussmeier was very accurate. And I think Miller Moss was just as good as in his own right. So we'll just have to see how both their seasons go. I know USC plays Michigan, I think, in the next week or 2 weeks. So that should be a good game against a really tough defense. And we'll find out quickly if USC is going to be able to compete against the physical. Because I think if if they're able to beat Michigan, and I understand I said LSU, Michigan are going to be down this year, but if they're able to beat LSU and Michigan, then I think they have to be in contention for, a 10-win season, because those are two games that I didn't think they would win.
Yeah,
So
they pay, it looks like week 4, September 21st.
okay, yeah, so about 2 weeks. So that's definitely a big, big matchup for them. I mean, like I said, I think if they're able to win that game, then I feel very confident and comfortable when they have to go play a team like Notre Dame. I know Notre Dame had their number the past couple of times they played, but I think if their defense is able to, show up against these other Big Ten opponents, then I think they have a chance.
Well, and what it's been is physicality, right? And people have been able to beat up USC. USC under Lincoln Riley specifically turned into a air raid kind of offense that was very soft in the middle, in the trenches, both offensive and defensive lines. And they looked much, much better against LSU. I agree. I think that was a point of emphasis for this team. And you really saw it pay dividends because they looked very good in the trenches. I think this is maybe the turning of a new leaf for USC, especially as you go into a Big Ten where you have a bunch of teams that can play physical football. Like you mentioned, the Michigans, Penn State, that's their style. Nebraska, Wisconsin, Minnesota, those are in the trenches teams. If you can't stop those teams, you're going to have a hard time in the Big Ten.
Definitely. So this time around, we're not going to go through all the top 25 games because there's only 2 good games to really talk about, but we're going to go with obviously the first game of the day, the best game of the day. Texas travels to Michigan. Again, I said Michigan was going to be down this year. I still think Michigan's a live dog in the fight though. And I think a lot of people are just expecting Texas to come through and stomp them, especially with how Michigan didn't look great against Fresno State last week. But I actually think Michigan can really win this game. I think when it comes down to the atmosphere of
You're
Ann
very
Arbor,
high on Texas.
now I'm not picking Texas to lose. That's not what I'm saying. But all I'm saying is I wouldn't be surprised if Michigan won. Now, if this game was in Texas, I'd probably pick Texas to win by 3 touchdowns. But the fact that it's in Michigan, I think it's going to be a very low-scoring game. I think Michigan's going to try to, and I think Donovan Edwards heard you last live.
I hope he did.
And I think
trash.
I think Donovan Edwards is going to have a very big game. And if you look at all the big games Michigan has played, it always seems that Donovan Edwards is the catalyst, and he always has a big game against the big-time opponents. So
I bet you
I expect him to have a big game.
50 push-ups that Donovan Edwards doesn't go over 60 yards rushing.
Is he injured?
No, he's not injured.
Okay, we can bet that. That's fine.
50 push-ups.
Yeah, 50 push-ups, 60 yards.
Edwards does not go over 60 yards rushing.
You want to do double or nothing?
What's the double or nothing?
If he goes 30 or less, I'll do 100. And if he goes 120 or more, you got to give me 100.
Bet.
All right, that's fair.
Bet.
That's fair. So I got Donovan Edwards having a good game. Again, I think Texas is going to win the game, but I think Donovan Edwards is going to have a good game. Chicken's back in the house.
What up, Chicken?
It's one game till week 5. We won't know, and I'm heading to Ann Arbor now.
Is he? You going to the game?
Why are you going to that game? Uh-oh. So they're going to be running the ball.
Listen, because I think what we saw.
They are one-dimensional, but that dimension is Donovan Edwards.
What we seen in week 1 is, I think both that Mullings is kind of taking that quorum role. Mullings is their lead back, the guy who's their physical back, which is Michigan style. Donovan Edwards, I'm going to give him a
wait. So he says he lives up here and he loves college football. I'm going to be honest.
Well, I've done that too. I went to Clemson, Florida State. I've been to
But
Florida,
you didn't
Georgia.
go to you didn't go to your arch. You wouldn't go to Michigan, Penn State.
No, I wouldn't go to Michigan, Penn State.
That's so he's going to a Texas game. He's an Oklahoma fan.
Maybe he wants to go to see Michigan beat him.
Maybe. That's crazy. Pops is going to work out after Saturday.
I'm telling you, he's
we'll
not going over 60.
I'd be surprised if he doesn't. And I think if he doesn't, then you were right. I mean, well, it also depends. I think if they don't play him, that's why I asked if he's injured. If they don't play him, that's different.
No, I don't believe he's injured. I think Mullings is just their lead back. Last week, he had 15 carries. He had 92 yards. I think Donovan Edwards is in baseball terms, a home run or strikeout guy. He's a guy who can pop for 80, and we all know that. but he's not a singles doubles guy. He's not a guy that's going to give you 4 or 5 per carry and sustain drives. He's a guy who will pop for an 80-yard touchdown where nobody can catch it. I don't think Texas is going to allow that. I think you're going to see Mullings be the guy who gives you the 4, 5, 3, 6-yard runs, because I think he is more of the Blake Corum in this offense, and Donovan Edwards is still that home run hitter who hits 200 and strikes out a lot.
Okay. Well, we'll see tomorrow. Obviously, hopefully it's a good game. What's your final prediction for the game, though? Before we move on.
Yeah. So much like you, I'm going to say I'm picking Texas. I think Texas has a little much. I'm very concerned. Davis Warren at quarterback. I don't think he played well against Fresno State. I believe that Texas has a better defense than Fresno State. I think just like Bama got here, it's going to be a very low-scoring game. I have it a little bit closer, and I'm going to say barely closer. I'm going to go 24-17. I think it's a touchdown game because I think what Michigan is going to attempt to do is grind out the clock. I think they still got a good offensive line. They still play well in the trenches. So they're going to slow that Texas offense down a little bit, especially as I see a lot of reports about the bad weather, which may affect Quinn Ewers' ability to throw, especially throw deep. I think this is Michigan weather. I just think Texas has too much and too much talent for this Michigan team. So I got Texas winning.
Yeah, I have it 20-13 Texas. So I think they win by a touchdown.
Okay, same.
I do think that it's going to be some field position, battle type of games. I didn't know the weather situation, so that's good to know, Chicken.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
Running is going to be paramount. I don't know how it's going to look tomorrow, obviously, or if it's the weather forecast for tomorrow, but I'm looking forward to that game a lot. Obviously, that's the biggest game of the day. So after that, we kind of got a lot of ho-hum games. But moving on, the next kind of team to talk about, it could be we could go.
Yeah, where you want to go?
We'll skip over a lot of these games. Obviously, Miami plays Florida A&M. I want to see how good this offense looks again. It's not so much who you play; it's kind of how you execute, in my opinion. Even though they, looked really good against Florida last week, I've
heard a word. And what's your thoughts on this? I heard word, or somebody said they believe that Cam Ward is the best quarterback in college football.
I don't agree with that because we don't know how good he's going to play against other teams. Now, I understand that he's explosive, he's dynamic, but we don't know how he plays from behind against a good team.
Yeah, good point.
So in critical situations, now obviously being at Washington State last year, he had a really good season to start, but they lost a lot of games in the back half. Yeah. So even if you're putting up crazy numbers, if you're losing,
I don't think that was him.
I don't think it was him. But like I said, he's never been in a situation where game is on the line, 2-minute drill. Can you go win me the football game? We've seen other quarterbacks in college football be able to do that. And even if it's not to the degree of a Joe Burrow or a Trevor Lawrence, they still can do it. We haven't seen that from him yet. So although I think he's a top 5 quarterback, I just want to see a little bit more. And I think this game this week, even though it's a lesser opponent, we could see him in critical situations still. If they're up 30 before half, a lot of teams, what they'll do is still do the 2-minute drill before half just to see how you look.
Yeah.
So I do want to see him, in those situations. Obviously, still play Florida State, so that'll be a good game. Luckily, Clemson doesn't have to play them. So,
that might be because my concern is, what
he said he heard that I hate Clemson, so don't believe what you hear.
Okay. I would like to see them against that Clemson defense, even if that's the ACC championship, because again, I think Clemson has an amazing defense. I don't know what he has that's really going to test him early.
So Dane did say he played well from behind against Oregon and Washington last year, even if they weren't wins. But
that's why I say he played well in those games.
So but I think, and not to take this to NBA terms, but the whole Russell Westbrook empty stat situation, you can have great stats and play well, but if your team doesn't win, then I don't think it really matters. I don't think you can be the best quarterback if your team doesn't win. Now, if you're scoring 60 points, the other team is scoring 65 and you're losing, it's not your fault.
Now, in credit to him, if you take Cam Ward off of that team, the Washington State roster, as I compare it to Oregon and Washington last year, Well, you get all excited.
No, because I want you to finish the statement, then I'm going to ask you something.
As I compare them to those two rosters, they were supposed to lose. Washington State didn't have the same level of talent as Oregon or Washington last year. Two teams that played in the Pac-12 championship and two teams that were, well, one of them was in the national championship and Oregon was right on the brink of being in the playoffs. And again, we're talking about the 14 playoff.
I agree. I want to look at something though, because I'm going to look at it for the first time. I want to know who they lost to last year in that long game winning streak, because I'm almost positive they lost to some people they shouldn't have lost to. If I'm not mistaken. And I'm not going to blame if you lost to an Oregon or Washington. You're supposed to lose those games.
Right. That's why I'm mentioning those two games because about it.
So they lost to California. They lost to Stanford. They lost to Arizona State.
You see Chicken's post? Chicken trying to come at you.
Steven, your analysis of Clemson, Georgia makes the name of this podcast fraudulent.
So go ahead. Keep looking up the stat and I'll
so they lost to UCLA, Arizona, Oregon, Arizona State, Stanford, Cal, and Washington.
I would say the only game in there that is a bad loss is Stanford.
And now, Arizona State.
Let me say this. Chica, and I'm not sure if you watched the show last week, but again, we were all making best guess. I thought the game was going to be closer than it was. I honestly, and this is going to sound crazy, don't think the game was as bad as the score indicates.
I don't think it was either.
I think
me being biased,
that defense just got tired. He looks like a viper.
I don't know what he's talking about. Just keep talking.
Like a viper.
I don't know. It's crazy.
But I think that defense just got tired. Just kind of a lost motivation, especially when they kind of felt like, hey, the offense isn't going to help us out. The offense isn't going to help bail us out. I think there was a point where the defense was just kind of raised their hands up. Because if you look even at the swagger, how they were hustling in the first half versus the second half, it was night and day. And I'm only speaking to the defense. Now, I'll say the offense was atrocious through the entire game. But I think if that defense continues to play at the same level, maybe, and again, I'm not saying this is better, but maybe we're talking about a 20-3 game or a 17-3 game. I think they just they threw their hands up like, hey, we're not getting any help here. And at some point, because even as I'm talking to Steven during the game, he even felt like, if this team goes up, if Georgia goes up by 2 possessions, we're probably out of it. Well, the defense probably felt the same way. We're out of it now. Shit, we can't score anyway.
Yeah, I mean, that was something that we already knew. The offense is not going to be very good again. That's not something. Rewatch it, Steven. It'll make sense. Rewatch the game? Because if you're telling me to rewatch the game, I'm not rewatching that game. I'm not going to put myself through that again. But I mean, like I said, I think overall there were some positives to take away from that. So we'll just have to see tomorrow when Clemson plays App State. Obviously, I'm hoping for a more explosive offense and a good defense again. And then next week we'll see what they look like against NC State. Or I'm sorry,
that's the game I really want to see. What up, Larry?
But yeah, so we just got to take a look at, these teams like Chicken said, after week 5. That'll kind of be when we can give a better assessment of them.
And that's the hard part about college football, especially.
Keep going.
What is he talking about? I didn't say do it. The hard part, especially as we watch these early games, is college football, unlike NFL, because you're playing other NFL teams, you can get a feel for a team very quickly. College football, every team is going to play a couple of cupcakes early before they get into conference play. Now, most teams will have one good out-of-conference game, but they're going to play some cupcakes. One, because there is no preseason. Hopefully, it allows them to get in a groove before they get into conference play. 2, you notice teams don't want to play too tough of an out-of-conference schedule, especially if you're in a conference like the Big Ten or the SEC, where you're going to have a number of ranked teams in your regular conference schedule. So those things kind of make it hard for us to get a real feel in these early weeks on a college football team. I don't think we're going to really know. I don't think
he's telling me to rewatch. So, Chicken, you have to, oh my God, you have to understand. So, I would be it's called the neutral zone. Yes. 99% of our videos, I'm unbiased. But you also have to understand the cool thing right now is to not Clemson and the portal situation because everyone's doing it. It's the easy way to do clips.
Oh, so he's talking about that. Oh,
so if I really wanted to, I could play into the algorithm and just get on here and say we need to use the portal. I could do that, but I don't believe that. I'm not a Shannon Sharp or somebody like that who just comes on here to talk about something about that something I don't believe
fan.
in.
Let's just make that UC. Wait a minute, which way am I going? I'm an Ohio State fan.
And it's crazy because a lot of people, if their team loses, they won't get on here and talk about it. Like I challenge somebody, if your team were to lose, 30 minutes later, get in front of a camera, in front of 1,000 people, and explain why your team lost.
Don't put that up. Why would you put that up? Don't worry about. All right, let's keep moving.
But yeah,
I cut my hair bald on purpose. It's very easy, low maintenance. I could grow a full head of hair.
But yeah, it's just hard. It's hard to get on here and do that and say quote unquote neutral, especially when 95% of the media are saying how Clemson's such a bad team when it was 6-0 halftime. So
yeah, it's a very cool name. Everybody knows that probably every year I'm going to find some reason that Ohio State is the national champion. Now, I'm also, just like last year, I'm going to give credit to Michigan, although that hurts my heart. Just like I think Clemson, Stephen has been very, very fair in terms of Clemson. Now, again, yes, he was passionate last week. Last year, he did not have Clemson. I don't even think he had him in the playoffs.
No, I didn't.
So
wait, I might have actually, but I said that we weren't a championship team, Jackson.
But yeah, so I think he's been very fair about Clemson. Now, he was passionate about a game. He thought they were going to win this past weekend. They didn't. I think his only defense is the defense of the conversation. And listen, I listen to a lot of college football talk shows, talk radio, and every show I turn to include Shannon Sharp show, to include Joe Klatt, to include every college football show is literally pointing Clemson's bad game back to Clemson not using the transfer portal. Now, I'm going to go on record, and I've been on record saying I think Clemson not using the transfer portal is a mistake. I think it's 100% a mistake. But I don't think that is 100% the correlation between Clemson had a bad game or what we'll call, in terms of Clemson standards last year, a bad season to, hey, they don't use the transfer portal. They were 9-4 last year. They've been in playoffs. Again, do I think they should? Especially at wide receiver, where I think they've had some trouble getting a wide receiver one? Absolutely. But I don't think this is some, oh man, they're not using it. And those two, that is the reason they lost by 31 points to Georgia. I think Georgia possibly is just a very good team.
Yeah, so funny you bring that up. And this is actually something, since there's not a lot of games we can talk about, but the fact that, again, like the notion is that the reason why Clemson lost is because of the portal, but now Florida State is 0-2, and it has nothing to do with the portal. I just think it's funny. Like it's funny that we blame DJ. How about we bench DJ now and see how good they are? Then it won't be DJ's fault. Then it'll be something else. So it's when teams lose or when Clemson loses, it's because we don't use the portal. When the people who use the portal lose, it's not because of the portal. So the portal is either really good or it doesn't matter. It can only be a positive thing, essentially, is what you're saying.
Right.
I'm sorry. It can only be you can
only, you're not going to use it. Nobody has talked about, like you mentioned, Florida State having issues this year because the last 2 years they've made their team using the portal.
Exactly. No one's going to say that, but they'll say the reason why Clemson's not doing it is because they're not using the portal. No, and I think that's very stupid. I actually, I'm not sure if you saw it on my story on my Instagram, but I reposted a YouTube video.
Is it the one you sent me?
Did I send it to you? Let me see.
I think you sent it to me at 3 a.m.
Yes. So I challenge everyone to go watch this video. It's like a 4-minute video. It's on the ESPN or the college football YouTube channel.
Post it in the comments then.
Yeah, I'll post it in there. Basically, what they're saying in there is, what the guy says is there was 2,700 people in the portal.
Mhm.
And he said 95% of those players are not good enough to play at Clemson. So the idea that Clemson needs to go to the portal to get these players, he was like, I feel the same way. This is exactly what I've been wanting to hear someone else say. I don't agree that we don't use a portal. So let me make sure I'm clear on that. I think Clemson should use a portal. But I emphasize the but. I don't knock Dabo for not using it because he believes he has good enough players to use it. Do I think we should use it? Yes, but he gets paid $100 million to coach his damn team. So obviously he knows what he's doing. There's no other coach in college football right now that has more national championships than him. Him and Kirby have the same amount, and as well as Mac Brown or whatever his name is from North Carolina. So they all have 2 national championships. The only coach that can tell him something is Nick Saban. And what did Nick Saban do? He left because he didn't want to use the portal.
Now, Nick Saban is on record as saying Nick Saban absolutely hated the portal as well. Now, the only thing Nick Saban said is, well, if it's available, I guess I'm going to use it. And that's the difference between Dabo. Again, do I think he should use it? Yes. Do I think that is why they had a bad season last year? Which, again, I don't really consider that a bad season. Or why they had a bad game? No. I think there are other issues. I think, one, they really need a wide receiver number 1.
Yeah, and like I said, when it comes to the portal, if we used it, cool. If we didn't lose it or use it, whatever. Like, I don't think that's the reason why we're losing. You can't say that's the reason why we're losing. It was 6-0. Like, I understand that it ended up being 34-3. I get all that. But what is going to happen if Clemson moves on to be 11-1 or 10-2? Dabo won't get credit for doing that because he doesn't use a portal. It'll just be, well, they got lucky. Like, it won't.
They didn't play nobody else.
Like, if Dabo and Clemson could go on to win the national championship, and they won't give him credit because he didn't use the portal.
I don't think that.
I genuinely
I said
like
the opposite. I said if Clemson were to win the national championship, that would vindicate Dabo.
But here's the thing though. If Clemson were to win the national championship without using the portal, other teams aren't just going to say, I'm not using the portal anymore. They're still going to use the portal.
No, but what I think you'll stop seeing is the Florida State, Colorado's, I'm going to remake my entire roster out of the portal. I think, like I said, I like the way I'm an Ohio State fan, right? I don't think there's no way that I'm going to be upset at taking Quinshon Judkins and Caleb Downs.
Yeah.
Right? I think when I can strategically take some things to fill some gaps, like if I was a coach, that would be how I use the portal. Hey, this player is an upgrade at this position or either adds depth at this position, and I couldn't or I didn't get a recruit. I'm getting a guy who can significantly
listen. Until you are man enough to get on here and debate sports, I don't want to hear nothing from you. Because you flaked on us like 5 times because you too scared. You just like Christian. You too scared.
But until elephants can fly.
I think he's talking about Clemson winning the national championship too. I'm pretty sure.
But until that's the way I would like Ohio State or any team to use the portal. It's the same thing that I say for Clemson. I think you strategically use the portal. I think if they had got in on somebody like last year, Keon Coleman, Keon Coleman, or somebody like that, those are the type of players that could have helped them.
I agree. I mean, I think anybody of that caliber, Dylan Gabriel, Judkins, Caleb Downs, is worth getting in the portal. Another thing, though, with the video that I posted right here, there was three analysts on there. One guy said he doesn't knock Dabo for having the ideology of not using the portal because he feels that he has the best players. He's had a top 10 recruiting class the last 10 years, so he doesn't knock him for that. Another guy said Dabo doesn't not want to use the portal. He just wants to get the guys that fit his program. So I think if the right person came around, he would get him in the portal. And it also goes to show we don't actually know if Dabo hasn't reached out to players. So I think
has he said like I will never use the portal? I mean, obviously, I know they brought the guy. What was the quarterback that they brought? That was at Clemson. Hunter.
Hunter, yeah.
Hunter Johnson.
Yeah, I believe it was Hunter Johnson. He came back from Northwestern. Well, but here's the thing. Here's the thing. Like, I think Clemson has got such a negative rap about the transfer portal. Even let's say hypothetically, right? Quinshon Judkins and Caleb Downs go to the portal, and Dabo hits him up immediately. Hey, we want you to come. They're not going to want to go because it's already been so. It's already like you don't want to go there. They already got a negative rap. So he might have hit up players to come, but they don't come. He's not going to come out. Look, yeah, we tried to get Caleb Downs, but he told us no. He's not
because
going to come
he's
out and say
probably
that.
only hitting up the Caleb Downs, the Quinshon Judkins.
Exactly. So I don't think he doesn't want to use it.
Gabriels.
He's just a lot more picky on it. I'll put it that way. Like, I just think he's more picky.
Yeah.
And again, I don't think that's the reason why we're losing. I don't think we're a great football team. That's the reason why we're losing. And I don't think adding Caleb Downs makes us win the game last week. I don't see that.
Bro, I still got eligibility left. And since Sean's on here, Sean can tell you about my 4-touchdown game.
Was he even on the team then?
No, he wasn't on the who? Sean, I'm not gonna tell the story.
Hold on, let's tell the story.
I'm not gonna do it like that. I'm not gonna do my boy like that. Come on, let's keep it going. Let's keep it going. What up, Fatal?
Then
listen,
buddy.
Sean, I'm trying not to do you like that.
We're just going up over everything. Oh, Fatal Jedi, my man. Fatal Jedi. Listen, I take Venmo, I take Zelle, I take Cash App. I take
Apple ain't over yet though.
You let me know how you want to send me those funds. I'll give you a discount I'll give you a $5 discount if you can send it right now. Oh, Fatal Jedi, I told you, man. I think Clemson.
Oh man, let's get back to games. We ain't talking about.
I think Clemson is still very much in the running for the ACC. I agree.
Agree. Let me say this. Even right now, especially when I look at the rest of the ACC, the way Florida State looks, I think right now we're talking about Miami. We're talking about Miami and some combination of maybe NC State, Clemson. Yeah, I think those are the teams in the run. So if you ask me to pick right now, I think Miami would win. But I think the ACC championship is Miami versus Clemson.
Yeah, I mean, I think luckily we don't have to play Miami, like you said. So I think the NC State game is going to decide who else gets in. The Clemson-NC State game. I think if Clemson beats NC State, they should be in.
Agree.
Yo, Brandon, you are crazy, bro.
That boy wilding.
All
right.
Y'all are crazy.
Don't do my boy Jedi.
I want to know, Jedi. I want to know from a Florida State fan. Christian's not in here. A Florida State fan. Do you point directly at DJ, or what do you? And I'm not trying to be funny. I'm being dead serious. What is, from your perspective as a fan, what do you feel like is the downfall of the team? Is it just DJ? Is it play calling? I want to know what you think.
I'm going to be honest. I think DJ has not played good. And I know, Steven, you're a DJ guy, and but DJ has not played good. Now, I don't think that's it, but DJ has not played good.
Yeah, I mean, I think play calling as well. The defense is not good. Obviously, the running game, they haven't ran the ball well either.
No, they ran what? I think we said 2.5 yards per carry.
Yeah, only 130 rushing yards in the first 2 games. They've been outran by like 300 yards. So definitely, he said, coaching continuity and arrogance.
Well, hey, let's talk about we got to talk about this Nebraska-Colorado game.
Oh, definitely. Who do you have in this game? First off, let's start there.
This was a tough one, but I'm going to pick, and I know this is going to seem a little homerish, I'm going to pick Colorado. I'm going to pick Colorado for one or two reasons. I think their stars have a little bit more experience, especially in big games, than Dylan Raiola. This is not a knock to Raiola. I think he is going to be great. But I think Shedeur and Shedeur.
One second. I'm sorry. 1 second. No, as a fan that has a little inside info, it's a combination of things happening at the worst time.
Inside info. What inside info? I want to have like he with the team. Give us the inside info. What are you talking?
All right, go ahead.
Hey, give us the inside info. Man, I'm breaking. I didn't know Jedi on the staff or something. I ain't even know. But back to, so I think this is going to be a very close game. I don't think that Colorado is going to be able to run on them, but I do like this receiving core with Travis Hunter and Horn. Obviously, Shedeur is legit. I like Raiola. But I again, this is the first game where I think Raiola, again, I don't think UTEP was going to be much of a challenge. This is going to be the first game where Raiola really needs to be that guy, and he is a freshman. I think he's going to have a turnover or two. I think Shedeur has been in these situations much, much more, and he's handled it. And again, not always great. Well, from Shedeur's standpoint, he's always played very well, but from a team standpoint, they haven't. This is one that I go back and forth with. I'm going to just give you mine early. I got it 35-31. I think Colorado wins on a last drive. I think Shedeur 4 or 5 wide with just some extremely impressive athletes. They're able to get in the end zone late in the game to win the game. What's your thoughts?
I have Nebraska winning this game. I think this is going to be Dylan Raiola's coming out party. Colorado's defense is terrible. So I think Dylan Raiola is going to throw a lot of yards this game. We've seen I saw Rule's interview I think on YouTube like 2 days ago, and he did a lot of talking about how he felt his team was disrespected and how he feels like his team doesn't get the credit they deserve, that this program is one of the best programs in college football. So I know I said it last year that Nebraska was going to have that turning point. I think Dylan Raiola is the piece they were missing. We saw Jeff Sims have a really, really piss poor season last year. Yeah. And now you have a top 3 quarterback, coming out of high school. So I have Nebraska winning. I have Nebraska winning 45-28. So I have them winning by a lot. I think physicality is going to play a big part in this game. We saw Colorado very, very early in the game try to establish the run on that first drive, and they just went away from it. I don't think
some people have some crazy scores here.
Man. Yeah, 30 points is crazy, but I thought I had a big gap, but everybody has Nebraska winning kind of big. I don't know. I just think overall Nebraska's defense is going to play a factor. I think the fact that this dude is crazy. The fact that they're able to control the line of scrimmage is going to play a big factor. So I do have Nebraska winning. You're the only one who has Colorado winning in here, at least so far.
All right. And again, listen, if you don't know, Deion Sanders is my favorite football player of all time. So maybe that's why I got a little bit more love. They were able to win this game last year. I think Shedeur is just a more experienced quarterback. I think Raiola is going to be amazing. Like I said, as an Ohio State fan, I'm very concerned for the future with this guy. But this is his first game where in a really big stage at the college level. And I think Shedeur has done that a little bit more. I think you put Travis Hunter on that guy, Nealer. Yeah, I'm not a Colorado fan.
Well, you better rewatch these videos, boy. You a fan.
But I think you put Travis Hunter
on Kendrick Nealer. Say? You a fan, you a fan, you a fan.
Right, wait a minute. You're a Drake guy. You can't be doing that.
I don't really.
Don't do your boy Drake like that.
Oh my God! Here we
Especially when he tried to say fans stood for. Come on, don't do that.
He is 69 God.
Don't do that.
Oh man.
But, yeah, I just think the experience, the explosiveness, especially out of that receiving core, I think will make up for what they lack on defense. And again, the defense didn't look great against North Dakota State. Let me say this, and I think some people are underestimating. I think North Dakota State, again, that was an 11-win team last year, is a pretty good team.
Who did you have to win the Big 12?
Oklahoma State.
Oh, that's right. Moving on. Whoa, what does my screen look like that? Hold on.
Like what?
Oh, there we go. It went away. You went away. Moving on, the next game that I want to cover is the Tennessee NC State game. I think that game is going to be obviously the only other ranked versus ranked matchup. I think this could be a crazy, this could be a hot take. But I think, are we going to go? Yeah, we will. We're going to go over the Oregon game. I think Nico has a chance to really implement himself into college football and the national media in this game. NC State has had a historically good defense over the past couple of seasons. If he's able to put up godly numbers against this team, not only could he have a coming out party like Brandon said, but he could realistically in this offense put himself in Heisman candidacy if he puts in a really good stat sheet, as well as a win over against NC State on the road as well. So make sure I say that on the road as well. So I do have Tennessee winning this game. I think it's going to be high scoring. And it's kind of funny because I don't think NC State has a great offense and they have a really good defense, but I have it 38-28. I have it a 10-point win for Tennessee. I just think Tennessee's offense is going to look really good. Now, not to say NC State doesn't have a chance in this game, because it could also be a 14-10 game if they rattle Nico early. So I have it 48 or let's say 48 or 38-28. Tennessee.
Let me say I'm going to go a little bit different. NC State is not Chattanooga. This is a team that plays great defense. And I think with Grayson McCall, if you guys remember from Coastal Carolina, they got a pretty good quarterback. Now, I don't think this is a team that is going to win in a shootout. I don't think that's how NC State is built. But you're talking about a guy getting his first start in a big-time game. I know Nico was at Tennessee last year. I know he played in a bowl game, but again, I think bowl games, especially outside of the playoffs, have lost some of its luster. And they had a very scaled-down offense for him. Last week, he looked amazing, and I'm not knocking that at all. I'm going to say that if he looks that same way this week against NC State, if he's able to put together a very good game, I think it'll change my thoughts on Tennessee for this season. But I think I need him to prove it against a team that's not Chattanooga. So I'm not saying it's not possible, but I'm going to pick NC State this week because, again, we're talking about a young, inexperienced quarterback playing a very good defense. And again, the last time we've seen him play a halfway decent defense was against Iowa in the bowl game where they scaled the offense down tremendously. Now, yes, they look explosive against Chattanooga. And if he's able to play that same way, if he's able to have that same efficiency and be that dynamic, then Tennessee might be in the running in the SEC. I'm gonna temper that a little bit. And I'm going to say I think NC State wins this game. I think he plays decent, but I think Grayson McCall, a super senior, I think he's been playing college football for like 7 years, and I'm kind of joking about that. But I think Grayson McCall is a heady, smart, veteran quarterback, and I think this NC State defense is legit. So I'm going to probably go against the odds here. I'm going to go against what Vegas is saying, and I'm going to pick NC State, especially at home in the Wolfpack, in the Den at Duke Mayo, the Duke Mayo's Classic. I'm going to pick NC State to win this game against a young, inexperienced quarterback who looks super talented and is probably going to pop years down the road. But I also think this is going to be a low-scoring game. Oh.
This is not a home game for NC State. It's a neutral site.
Oh, where's this game at?
This game is at the Panther Stadium.
Was it at the Panther Stadium?
It's the Duke's Mayo Classic. That's why when you said that, I realized it was a neutral site.
But I think NC State is a little bit better at leaning on that running game with Waters. I'm going to pick NC State. I think it's going to be very low scoring. I'm going to pick them to win this game 20-17.
I do want to say, though, Chicken, before we move on after this game, please, please, please hold this team in the same regard in week 4. That's all I'm saying. I'm going to leave it at that. Because Clemson plays this team in week 4. So when we beat them, I don't want to hear how this team didn't have no weapons. So just make sure we keep that same energy for them when we travel to wherever they play.
Man, Bama got Tennessee big. Oh, Bama's a big SEC homer. I get it.
Moving on. Next game I want to talk about a game that I think is a very, very sleeper game. Dane, you're not going to like this. The Boise State-Oregon game. I think this game is going to – I would be surprised at this point if DJU doesn't look impressive against Memphis next week. Maybe you should start getting Glenn some experience.
Yeah, I think you'll see that. I think that's coming anyway.
Boise State at Oregon. I would be at this point surprised if Oregon covers 20 points against Boise State. I would be surprised. I think 20 points is a lot of points. You're not on them sticks, Steven, so they're not. He's talking about the league.
Yeah.
I just think Genty looked really good, and I think Oregon's
he looked amazing.
I think Oregon's offense didn't look very good last week. I really wanted to go to this game, tomorrow. I'm going to the Washington State Texas Tech game instead. The Oregon game is 5 hours away from me, and it's at 7 o'clock at night, so I'm not going to drive at 3 o'clock in the morning to get home.
We going to we're just gonna stay there.
Yeah, we're probably just gonna stay there. But we'll figure that out. I'm not really concerned. That's Ohio State, Oregon. It's not Boise State, Oregon. I
Yeah,
can
no,
drive
I'm
for
with
5
you.
hours if I need to. But I think this game is going to be a good game. I do have Oregon winning. I do have Dylan Gabriel looking a lot better this week. But don't be surprised if this is a game late in the third, earlier in the fourth quarter, maybe a 10-point game. I have Oregon winning 45-31. I have them winning by 14 points. And I think Genty is the real deal. I don't think it matters who he's playing against. I think he's going to show his talent, and he just so happens to be better than everyone in the group of 5. But I think he's a Power 5 running back, so I think he's going to do really well against Oregon defense. And I'm actually really excited to keep track of this game. Obviously, the game I'm going to is at the same time, so I have to watch it on my phone or whatever. But I like this game a lot.
Yeah, I think this is going to be one of the more entertaining games of this week. I'm going to be honest with you. Now, I'm going to for Duck Fan Dane, I'm going to tell you I'm picking Oregon. I want Oregon to win, 1, because I want that Ohio State-Oregon game to be a top 5 game, but 2, because I think across the board, they just have more talent than Boise State. Now, I think Boise State has some pockets of talent. Like you said, Gentry is a true monster. And if you guys didn't, I know this is Boise, so they don't always get the pub and the press, but if you didn't see what he did last week, and if you didn't see what he did last year, he may be one of the best running backs in college football. I think Oregon's going to open this offense up. I think there was a lot of check downs against Idaho. I don't know why. Dylan Gabriel threw the ball 48 times, but it seemed like they didn't shoot for home runs. I want to see that in this game, and I think there's some positions where Oregon's just the better team. But I think they're really going to open this offense up this week. I don't think you're going to see as many checkdowns. I think you're going to see some swings for the fence, and I think they're going to hit a couple of those. I think this is going to be a very fun game. But I think Oregon late is going to be able to pull away. I have this game high scoring, 49-35 Oregon.
So there's the other 2 games. I mean, there's not really to talk about, but I do want to talk about the last 2 teams. Brandon says, I have a question because sometimes stats don't show the real picture. Gabriel went 41-49. Is there a reason for no big plays? Dane could probably answer that. I didn't watch the game.
I think it was a lot of checkdowns, a lot of underneath passes. Like I said, it looked like they were being very safe. Maybe this was just Idaho. They didn't want to show their full hand, but it looked like they were being very safe.
This team plays Northern Arizona this week, so it's not a good game. But I really need to give McMillan his flowers, a wide receiver from Arizona. He's going to have another big day this week. He's probably going to have 200, 300 yards. Maybe not 300. I would say between 150, 250 yards receiving. I posted him on my story. I'm not sure if you saw it, but he posted like a highlight film of that game. It just felt like he was varsity versus JV.
He looked different.
So I'm excited to see how he looks throughout the entirety of the season. At this point, in my opinion, he's the best wide receiver in college football, in my opinion. After what I saw, I didn't know he was 6'5". I thought he was like 6'1" or 6'2". So the fact that he's 6'5", obviously the Big 12, it's not going to play much defense outside of Utah. So I think when he has to play a team like Colorado, I can't wait for the matchup with Travis Hunter. I cannot wait to see that. Obviously, when they play against Kansas State, when they play against a team like Utah, they don't play Kansas, so he won't match up against Kobe Bryant, which I would love to see that matchup. But I think overall, to me, he's the best wide receiver in college football right now, based on what I saw. That was the only game on during that time, so I watched from start to finish that game, and it felt as if everyone in the stadium, everybody watching, knew he was going to get the ball, and they could not.
Video game.
Like, it didn't make any sense to me. So I think that's somebody to, look at, him and Fafita, somebody to look at as far as Heisman goes. And then obviously we talked about USC early on in the show. USC's defense looked amazing. I would say amazing, looked much improved against LSU's offense. So excited to see how they look against Michigan in a few weeks. But overall, I'm excited.
Things that you're like kind of looking for this week?
I'm looking for Clemson's offense to be feasible.
That was going to be number one for me. Obviously, I think that Georgia defense is very good. I would like to see that Clemson offense look better. I think that's one of the things that I'm really going to be looking for this week.
We need at minimum 40 points. If we win this game 28-17, I'm going to be concerned. Yeah.
If that defense has to carry the day again, yeah, I think there is reason to be very concerned. I think beyond that, I just want to see a couple of the things that we saw. Can it carry over? Right? Is that USC now? They're playing Utah State. Hold on, I'm a big Utah State guy. But they're playing Utah State.
Bro, this dude is an idiot, bro.
They're playing Utah State. Can that defense carry over what it is they did last week against LSU? Right? Much lesser game, but I feel like a game against LSU you get up for, you're hype. Can you get up for and can you play well against? Remember, we saw some teams that looked really bad throughout the rest of the season, look really good against USC. I want to see the continuation, the continued maturity of that Alabama offense. I want to see what Ryan Williams looks like. Again, being a Jeremiah Smith guy, Will Howard guy. I want to see that Ohio State offense. Again, they looked a little sluggish early against Akron, seemed to pick it up late. I want to see them come out of the gate against, I think we play Western Michigan. Against Western Michigan, I want to see us come out of the gate and look like a national championship contender from the first snap. So there's a couple things I want to keep my eye on. Probably one of the worst weeks in terms of marquee games, but there's some things that I definitely want to look for.
Yeah, next week there's not many good games either. I was looking at it yesterday. This is like the 2 dead weeks, so kind of sucks, but happens every year. But let us know in the comment section what kind of videos you guys want to see. Next week. Obviously, we don't have the Sunday, Monday games this time around, so going to be some more dead time during the week. Obviously, Sunday we also have the live show recapping this week's games. Hopefully, there's something crazy we could talk about in the live show, and everything doesn't just go as scheduled. Hopefully, NC State's able to beat Tennessee. Hopefully, Clemson's offense looks good. Hopefully something crazy. Hopefully Michigan beats Texas. I'll say that. Hopefully Michigan beats Texas. That would be cool to talk about. Maybe not for you, but actually
I wouldn't care.
Yeah, because it would make your guys
I'm probably the rare Ohio State fan that says that I want Michigan to go into the game 11-0.
Put the push-up bet on video.
Listen, if he wins, I'll do it on live. I'll do it.
Yeah, but we'll do it on live. That's fine. Clemson's offense looking good is something crazy. I know that's probably not going to happen, huh?
Hey,
but thank you guys so much. Let us know in the comments, like I said, what you guys want to see. Like last year.
I feel like that man is slow on computers. He's probably responding to something that was posted 15 minutes ago. He just got that out. It took him an hour to get this message out. We were probably talking about something 2 days ago. Hey, like last year. Like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, so
let's talk
he's talking about Michigan.
Oh, all right, let's wrap it up.
That makes sense now. Hold on. Let's talk to Game Ready Productions. I haven't seen him in here.
Game Ready Productions, Oklahoma State versus
welcome to the channel. Unless you are already subscribed, welcome back. Oklahoma State versus Arkansas, rout or upset. That's actually be a really good game. I think Arkansas looked really good last week with the quarterback. I forget his name. I think his name is Talon. But he's a fast quarterback. 3 times in a row is not a fluke. Here we go. Oh man, Dane's on you now. See, you done woke him up.
Because Colorado, I said Oregon was gonna win.
His name is Talon Green, by the way. That's his name. Yes, I think Arkansas has a chance to win this game. I was very low on Arkansas last year. I thought they were going to be 2-10 or 3-9 last year. I think the offense looks a little bit better. Am I the only member? I believe so. You and one other person, I think. I think you're the only member.
What?
He pays a monthly subscription because he's
a
real
man. That's what's up, man.
Yeah. See,
Appreciate
so shout out to Chicken, man. Hopefully Brent Venables can do something for you this year for some good karma. But that was no shade. I was being serious. I like Brent Venables. But yeah, Oklahoma State, Arkansas, Ollie Gordon, obviously top 2 to 3 back in college football. But I think Arkansas poses a realistic threat. I think this is a good game. Obviously, Oklahoma State was only favored, I think, by 10 points last week against South Dakota State. I knew that was utter ridiculousness. I had Oklahoma State winning way bigger than that. So I do think Oklahoma State wins this game, but I also think Arkansas has a chance So what do you feel about this game, Dad?
Yeah, I do like Arkansas and what they showed this year. I was high on them last year, and they let me down with Rocket. I like Jaquindon Jackson. I like anybody whose last name is Jackson.
He transferred from Utah, didn't he?
He did.
Okay.
I liked him. My bad. Pop's got to poke a little. Oh, I don't even know what you said. But but I picked Oklahoma State to win the Big 12. Again, you mentioned Ollie Gordon. I think he's great. I think Bowman is a very good quarterback. I think they just have a little bit more than Arkansas at this point. But Arkansas so far has been a pretty pleasant surprise, especially after letting us down last year. Letting me down. I know you kind of picked them to be a little bit more down than I did. They kind of did me dirty last year. So obviously, what is this guy talking about? But obviously, I think
Oklahoma's not even in the Big 12 anymore.
Huh?
Oklahoma's not even in the Big 12, Dane.
Who's not in the Big 12?
Oklahoma.
Oh. Yeah, I got Oklahoma State winning the Big 12.
Buddy out here just throwing around your childhood. What are we doing?
So you want to talk about why he wasn't on the football team?
He said it's all cap. Wait, Sean, let me say something. Bro, you too old to be saying cap, bro. You too damn old to be saying cap. Okie Light has no defense. Gotta go.
When I talk about why he wasn't on the football team, he said gotta go. I'm gonna leave it be.
But thank you guys so much for sticking around with us. Again, Game Ready Productions. Thank you for showing up. We haven't seen you in a live before. Hopefully you come back for not for next week's, for Sunday's live when we recap all the games. Please do us a favor, everybody. Subscribe. Make sure you guys hit that notification bell. We go live twice a week. We're also going to be putting out videos throughout the week. Send this channel to a friend. The more people we get in here to talk college football, to predict and recap games, are going to be pretty fun. Yeah, he said cap. Yeah, cap is crazy, man. I'm not going to lie. Cap is crazy. But thank you guys so much. We will see you guys on Sunday at the live show. Peace out, everybody.